Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is all about brows. There are so many bad brows out there. It's like one of those things that I bet any of you who do makeup too, when you notice somebody with bad brows, it's like all I want to do is go in and fix them, tweeze them, fill them in properly, shake her and say, why are you doing this? And the main people that I want to do that to is all of these crazy stylized Instagram brows. It's too much. It's so too much. If you put your brows on and you can't see through to your skin, it's too much. Like, anyway, I could go on forever. I don't want to get on a soapbox, so I'm going to continue, but this video is going to be all about the do's and the don'ts for doing your brows. First, I want to talk about all the options that you have for doing your brows. If you're somebody that gets ready in 2 minutes, already has a pretty full brow, but maybe your brows are curly or unruly, or you wake up and there's 4 of them going this way, then you might really like a brow shaper. A brow shaper is going to be like a little mini tinted mascara wand for your brows. This is something that very quickly and easily, if you like, for me, I am blessed with a pretty good full brow. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm also a brow girl, so I love brows. So usually for me, brow gel isn't quite enough, but I will show you what it looks like on my brows. So I just recently tweezed and shaped and trimmed my brows, so they're a lot better right now. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the mahogany in the brow shaper. The thing with the brow shaper that you need to keep in mind is if you have a lot of hair, it's great because it's actually going to attach to the hair. But if you're somebody who has a lot of holes or you have a scar that you're needing to fill in, then brow shaper might not be the best option, only because it doesn't really tint onto the skin. It really just tints onto the hair. And the hard thing for me is that I'm such a perfectionist, and with a brow shaper, I can't really fill in that area right there, as you can see, but it is better than nothing. So if I had to just quickly throw something on, brow shaper is a great idea for those just like quick, fast, and easy days. Another really easy way to fill in your brows is with powder. I'll go through the options really quick. We have, hold please. Okay, so we have powder as an option. I love to get powders that have 2 colors in them, a darker and then a lighter color. And that way you can use the lighter color where you have fuller hair, and then the darker color where you have less hair. And that way you're gonna have a more balanced out, natural looking brow than if you use one color over the entire area. You could also use a brow pencil, and if you guys have been following me and watching my videos for a while, you know that this perfectly defined longwear brow pencil is my like ride or die all-time favorite. Before that, I did use powder. You can see I've used these powders for a long time now. They're really, I mean, I've probably had this brow kit for like 2.5 years, you guys. It lasts so long. I probably shouldn't tell you that, but it's fine. The next option is like a brow gel or a brow pomade. This is actually a new one that is coming out, launching from Bobbi Brown. It is going to be in Sephora's near you very soon, though it is not out yet, but I will put the launch date on the bottom of the video so you will know when you can go into your local Sephora and get this amazing new brow gel. So you guys all know the most popular brow gel right now is the Anastasia Dip Brow. And I have very mixed feelings about Dip Brow because I feel like it is very hard to make Dip Brow look natural. So I feel like the brows that I want to like help out there are the Instagram like stylized, super heavy, super opaque brows. And I feel like for the most part, that is being created from Dip Brow. That's not to say it's not a good product. It is, it's great, but to me, Dip Brow is almost like gel eyeliner. It's so opaque and it's a little bit hard to work with, but I do love the idea. I love the idea of having something in a pot that's a gel that you can use with a dual-ended brush to apply. So I will show you guys on this brow how to fill in using a pomade or a gel. This is the new dual-ended brush. It's a brow definer and groomer brush from Bobbi Brown. And this product hasn't quite launched yet, but it will be launching very soon. So just make sure that you get a little bit of product onto your brush. And I'm just gonna buff through my brow to start with. And as you guys can see, I'm really full right through here, but I'm really sparse at the front of my brow and then on like the tail end of my brow. So for me, I'm actually gonna start first where I need to be filled in, which for me is more at the front of the brow. And I am just gonna buff this into my brow. Just dip it in, go to the brow, and blend it in. The texture of this, I would say, is almost like the texture of that brow gel, but you can kind of control and choose where you're putting it, which I really like, because for me, being like kind of OCD, I really like to have super symmetrical brows. Keep in mind, like, brows are never gonna be exactly the same. Most people in the makeup industry will say they're sisters, not twins. And then other people will be like, no, they are twins. Girlfriend, you gotta have them exactly the same. You don't have to have them exactly the same because naturally people's brows are a little different. So sometimes when they look too much the same, then it just doesn't look very natural anymore. So again, brows are really personal, and I'm not telling you that if you love and use dip brow to stop using it. I am not. If you love dip brow and you love the way it makes your brows look, girlfriend, go for it. I love it. I just personally feel like it's too difficult to make it look, I don't know how to make it look natural on me. I've tried it because I was like, oh, it's gonna be super long wearing, great. Once I found the perfectly defined long wear pencil, it's a 16-hour wear and it's waterproof. So for me, I just find that I just don't really need dip brow in my life, but some people are like, ride or die, and that's fine. It's all about options. So with this, I really love how this brow looks. I feel like it looks super natural. I love that when you look close, you can still see my skin through my brow. So it's not, you can actually see like the texture of my brow hairs, which is really important, because once you lose that, that's when you start to get really heavy looking brows. And I actually don't love how this is looking compared to this one, but again, I'm just like crazy like that, and I like this area up here to be filled in so that I get more of a lift. So we've covered brow shapers, who they're for, what we're going to use them for, and then now we have covered how to fill in with a gel or a pomade. So next we are going to work on how to fill in with pencil versus powder. Okay guys, so now we are going to go into powders versus pencils, and again, brows are personal. I know I've said that, but take what I am telling you as like a guideline, not necessarily a rule, because everybody is different. Everybody has their own preferences. Everybody has their own things that they like, but also keep in mind, powder is good if you want a really natural brow and if you have a decent amount of hair. But if you don't have a lot of hair and you weren't blessed with really full brows and you really need to fill them in and you don't actually have the hair, I would then recommend going to a pencil so that you can get a little bit more definition and get a little more like dimension in your brow by using a pencil. Powder, it doesn't have a dimension to it, it's just giving a tint. So when you have hair, that's fine because it just fills in lightly where you need it. But for people who do not have hair, or if you have a tattooed brow, or you're like you have a scar and you're missing that area, I would say it's easier to fill in with a pencil. So just keep in mind what type of brow you have for what type of product you're going to use. So I will show you guys how to fill in with a powder. I like to use the eyebrow brush from Bobbi Brown. It just looks like this. It's angled, but it's not too thin. As you can see, it actually has a little bit of depth to it. And this is great for powders. So what I am going to do is I am going to start on this brow. And as you guys can see, again, I'm fuller through the center, and then I have less brow hair through the front and the end. So Also, quick little note about knowing where to start the shape of your brow. If you use your brush as a guide and you put it over your nose, that's where your brow should start. If you go right to the outer corner of the eye, that's where, well, I guess you could also say like the angle of middle of the nose up over your eye is where the top of your arch should be. And then on the side of your nose, use that as an angle with that. Again, mine doesn't quite go that far. I feel like that would be like a lot of brow if I did that. But again, it's more of a guideline. And for your eye shape, if somebody has a much smaller set eye shape than me, you might not be able to follow those exact rules. So you really just need to work with the bone structure of the face that you're working with and go from there. So I'm going to start with the lighter shade. And I am going to do the lighter shade through this like center portion and above my brow. I like to fill in on the top of my brow first so that I get that instant lift, opposed from starting underneath. I'm going to go in with the darker shade for the outer part of my eye and the tail end of the brow where I need to be filled in a little bit more. And then I'm also going to use that darker shade through the front of my brow where I need a little bit more help and definition. Again, I like the ones that have two colors in them so that you kind of have options to creating the intensity of the brow that you want. Love it. Oh, I love brows so much, you guys. I'm obsessed. Okay. So that's how I would fill it in with powder, and this is how not to fill it in with powder. Okay guys, when you're using powders or pomades, this is what I mean by an opaque brow. You cannot see any skin through that brow whatsoever. You will also notice that it's kind of that like comma brow where it's rounded in the front versus being squared off. And these are little things that totally change the personality of your brow. So this is what not to do. Do not overfill in. If you can't see skin through your brow, it's too much. You've taken it a little too far. And I support a full brow, but this is too much. So this side, as you can see, it's filled in, but you can still see my skin through it. You can still see the texture of my actual hair throughout the brow. It's not overdrawn. It's just filling in where I need a little bit of love. So this is the do, and this is the oh girl, do not brow. Okay, you guys, so the last thing is I want to show you how to use a pencil to fill in your brow. I still have my girlfriend absolutely do not go here brow on this side, because it kind of pertains to if you're going to use powder, if you're going to use a pomade, or if you're going to use a pencil. So keep this as your reference of what not to do. And on this side of my brow, I'm going to show you how you can really naturally fill in with a pencil. And with this pencil, as you can see here, it has more of a wide, long product application versus a pencil that comes to a fine point tip. I feel like fine tip point pencils are a little bit harder to work with if you don't have a brush on the other end, only because they do apply so intensely right away that you can get some really harsh lines and it doesn't look natural. So I love these ones. This is the Perfectly Defined Longwear Brow Pencil from Bobbi. And I am just going to start in this front part of my brow. That's really the main place that I need to be filled in. And I'm just going to start by making a straight line from the head of my brow up to the arch. And then kind of fill in and fluff it to the top. Again, so that it looks natural, but defined. And then I'm going to make that line from the head of the brow to the arch. And then fill in and thicken this outer edge where I have a little bit more. Then I just kind of comb and brush through so that it brings it really back to a natural looking brow. I feel good about that. It helps to kind of, see, this is why I like pencils, because I have that little hole right there that you guys can see. So I can just kind of go in and just fill in that hole. But again, it still looks really, really natural. This is just like chola scary business over here. So for brows, you guys, hopefully that helped a little bit in distinguishing what you should use, when you should use it. If you have a really super full brow, but you kind of get curly, unruly brows, you want to use Brow Shaper to tame, calm, and tint your brow. If you have no brow hair whatsoever and you need to actually create the shape for a brow, use a pencil. Absolutely, 100% use a pencil. If you have a brow like mine where you do have a lot of hair but then you have holes, there are options for you. I personally love the pencil. I love the pomade. And I really like powder. I do like that with these two products, they are gonna be more long lasting than a powder. I get hot all the time, like I'm always warm because I'm always running around, so powder isn't the best option for me for longevity. If that's not your issue and you like the quick and easiness of it, great, powder is gonna be your friend. If you need something a little bit more long wearing and you wanna have a little bit of control, to create a little bit more of a polished, clean brow, go with one of these. Again, these ones, these Longwear brow gels, they are not out yet, but they will be out soon, available at a Sephora near you. So make sure that you guys go over to dobella.com to get a full list of all the products that I used and more in-depth tips. But I hope this little video tutorial is a good do's and don'ts of how to apply your brow product. Okay, bye guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.